So young people are certainly facing so much these days. And to add to that, social media is taking a toll on our teens.
Dr. Laura Saunders from the Institute of Living is here now with more on how we can support them. Hey, Doc, happy Wednesday. How are you?
Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday.
How are you?
Happy Wednesday. Do we hear you okay?
I'm well. I miss you.
Yes.
And I'm happy to be here.
We miss you as well. I just heard I was listening to Sirius yesterday. They said I'm sure you have a study that came out too, but they said a study said if you get off social media for 1 week, that it can really elevate your emotional and even your physical impacts on your body. It has such great resources to do that.
And you know why? That's all because of social comparison. But let's talk about the recent research study that's came out. I saw the article in the New York Times. As parents, teachers, mental health professionals, we have great concern over the effect of social media on our young people. And there's a pretty common belief that it has a negative influence. 9 out of 10 teens have a smartphone. I don't know where that 10th teen is, and they must be in rural Iowa somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know that person either, but right. You and I have talked about this all the time because we have daughters about the same age, and I'm always worried about it. And it's a balancing act of you're never allowed to be on this to teaching them how to use it. But what specifically, especially these distinct periods in adolescence, what are you noticing, and what do you think is the real issue with social media causing teens, maybe especially teen girls, to kind of maybe have depressed feelings, more anxiety?
So, yeah, what this massive research study has shown is that there's actually 2 distinct periods in adolescence where teens may be more sensitive to the negative influence of social media. And for girls, that's right around the time of puberty, so like 11 to 13. For boys, it's right around 14 to 15. We know boys, they enter puberty a little bit later. And then again around age 19 for both genders. So right around puberty for males and females. And then age 19 is that developmental stage where children, they're young adults, are launching. They're out of high school, they're either in college or working or taking a gap year, whatever they're doing. So it's those vulnerable times where the negative influence of social media tends to be most problematic.
And they say it has more of an indirect effect as opposed to a direct effect. That's based on the research?
Yes. So the indirect effect is really how does it affect your sleep? And actually, that's really the number one, that quantifiable, right? We all think it's bad to be for all the social comparison, but what's quantifiable is how negatively it affects sleep in our young people. It takes the place of real life, or as the young people say, IRL, in real life, because I'm very hip like them.
I love it.
Although not saying hip doesn't make me that hip. IRL, real life interactions, it takes them away from getting outside and doing all those things. So the reality is it does have negative influence, especially during those vulnerable times. But there's not a whole lot of research to show that it has a huge amount of negative influence, despite the fact that we believe it does.
Right. We don't know. We just know that, sometimes it's taking you away for those positive activities. So ways and things that we can do, teaching kids to just take a phone break.
So let's just take some breaks. I mean, a week would be great, but that's just not realistic. Put the phone down when you're eating, take some breaks during the day, go out for a walk without it, encourage various ways to take technology breaks. That's really the best thing that you can do for your teen, is teach them to take breaks. So that sort of takes away some of the addictiveness of technology.
Well, and I want to pick, if teens are listening, I have this argument all the time. You just said addictiveness. We can all agree, even for adults, kids, there is an addictive nature to the phone, right?
There's absolutely an addictive nature to it. And again, there is those that are more vulnerable to addiction, but it's highly stimulating. It's like, it's like the ADHD kid who's playing a video game for hours at a time. The parent says, well, he doesn't ever get up. He must have good focus. No, those are highly stimulating games. Social media, when you're flipping through TikTok or Snap or whatever else, they're highly stimulating. So it's very addictive. It's all these images coming out at you, and it makes you believe. So you don't ever watch anything that's more than 30 seconds. That's a false belief in the way life runs. You know, life runs in its own timeline. It doesn't just happen in 30-second clips.
All right. And we only have 30 seconds left, but social comparison, no good.
The thief of all joy,
The
you always
thief of
say.
all joy. Yep. Yeah, we all said it. Well, thank you, Dr. Laura. We appreciate your time. We hope you have a great day today, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
All right.
Thanks, Doc.